Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please go ahead and hit the subscribe button and give this video a like up. Star Trek. Starfleet Academy's new starship is explained by legendary director Jonathan Frakes. Executive produced by Alex Kurtzman and Noga Landau. Star Trek. Starfleet Academy premieres in early 2026 on Paramount+. Set in the 32nd century, Starfleet Academy stars a new generation of Starfleet hopefuls overseen by Academy Award winner Holly Hunter as Captain Nala Ake. Star Trek. Starfleet Academy's first teaser trailer was unveiled at San Diego Comic-Con, which featured a startling sight. Starfleet Academy not only has its own starship, the USS Athena, but the ship and the Academy are one and the same. Trek Movie reported from STLV, Trek to Vegas, where Jonathan Frakes explained why Star Trek. Starfleet Academy has its own starship. Jonathan paraphrased Alex Kurtzman about the rationale behind Starfleet Academy's USS Athena. Read Frakes' quote below. Alex Kurtzman's fears of audiences thinking Star Trek. Starfleet Academy would be a show about kids in the classroom was motivation to think outside the box. Star Trek just wouldn't be Star Trek without a starship, and Starfleet Academy's innovation of the USS Athena doubling as Starfleet Academy is an ingenious idea that Star Trek hasn't done before. Star Trek. Starfleet Academy brings the school back to its original San Francisco location, but the USS Athena creates a best of both worlds scenario. Starfleet Academy can be earthbound if need be, and the school can then literally launch into outer space for missions, likely involving Paul Giamatti's half-Klingon/half-Tellarite villain, News Braka. I'm excited to see the USS Athena in action, both as a starship and as the actual Starfleet Academy facility. Among Starfleet Academy's cast of young cadets who will presumably serve aboard the USS Athena, Captain Nala Ake is also joined by her half-Klingon/half-Jem'Hadar first officer, Lurtichoke Gina Yasher, and Star Trek legacy characters like the Dr. Robert Picardo. Jonathan Frakes directed the first half of Star Trek, Starfleet Academy Season 1's finale, and he confirmed at STLV that he will return to direct Starfleet Academy Season 2, which begins filming in the fall of 2025. With the USS Athena pulling double duty as a starship and as Starfleet Academy itself, Star Trek. Starfleet Academy brings something brand new fans have never seen before. Jonathan Frakes has long been a steady voice of reason and passion when it comes to Star Trek. Best known as Commander William Riker from The Next Generation, Frakes has grown into one of the franchise's most beloved ambassadors, not only as an actor, but also as a prolific director. Whenever there's news about Star Trek's future, fans listen closely to his words. And recently, Frakes revealed a fascinating tidbit about the upcoming Star Trek series. It will lean heavily on a classic science fiction trope, one that has anchored the genre for decades. But this isn't just nostalgia or lazy recycling. Frakes insists there's a deliberate reason for returning to tried-and-true storytelling devices. And as always, his explanation is steeped in reverence for Trek's legacy while keeping an eye on the future. The trope in question? The parallel universe, or, as Trekkies know it best, the mirror universe. Science fiction has explored what-if worlds for as long as the genre has existed. Whether it's parallel Earths where history diverged at a critical moment, realities where moral alignments are reversed, or timelines fractured by small decisions, these stories tap into humanity's most universal questions. What would life be like if I had chosen differently? What if the world itself had taken another path? Frakes revealed during a recent fan panel that the next Star Trek show will embrace the mirror trope, but with a twist, suggesting it won't simply be a retread of Deep Space Nine's swashbuckling alternate empire or Discovery's darker than dark Terran brutality. Instead, it will examine the consequences of Starfleet's ideals clashing with a version of itself where those ideals were corrupted not by conquest, but by subtle compromise. Some might ask why Star Trek, a franchise that has always prided itself on looking forward, would return to a well-worn idea. Frakes addressed this directly. The thing about tropes, he explained, is that they only become cliches if you don't have anything new to say with them. Star Trek has always revisited the same themes: exploration, diplomacy, ethics, human nature, but each generation finds a new way to frame them. The parallel universe stories let us hold up a mirror, literally and figuratively, to ourselves. That's why it keeps working. For Frakes, the key lies in relevancy. In today's world, where truth feels malleable, where people argue over competing realities, and where technology itself can warp our perception of what's real, the parallel universe trope becomes more than just a fun narrative trick. It becomes a social commentary. It's not about mustaches and evil uniforms anymore, Frakes teased, nodding to the campy origins of the trope in the original series. It's about asking what happens when truth fractures, when people can live in the same world, but believe they're in different realities. That's as Star Trek as it gets. Frakes has always been a storyteller at heart. His directing work, from the Next Generation episodes to the Star Trek First Contact film, proved he knows how to balance spectacle with heart. He understands that Trek succeeds best when its high-concept ideas are grounded in human emotion. The new show, according to him, won't just use the parallel universe as a sci-fi gimmick, but as an emotional crucible for its characters. What makes the idea powerful is watching characters you think you know confront a version of themselves they might have become, he said. It's not just about phasers and starships, it's about asking whether we, as people, are as good as we think we are. That comment drew thunderous applause from the fans in attendance, because it captures exactly why Trek endures. The mirror universe first appeared in the classic Star Trek episode Mirror, Mirror, where Captain Kirk, Spock, and crew found themselves in a brutal Empire-dominated version of the Federation. It was campy, yes, but it raised serious questions about morality and leadership. Later, Deep Space Nine made it darker, turning the alternate universe into an ongoing subplot of rebellion, oppression, and identity. Discovery pushed it into horror territory, showing a fascist empire so ruthless it made audiences recoil. Now, Frakes hints the new iteration will shift again, focusing on subtle corruption, what happens when values erode quietly instead of being overthrown violently. It's not about an empire this time, Frakes said. It's about a federation that compromised itself, piece by piece, until it doesn't look much different from an empire. This take hits closer to home in a modern context, where many viewers are grappling with institutions they once trusted, watching them bend under political or economic pressures. Star Trek has always reflected society's anxieties, and this new spin seems poised to do the same. If anyone other than Jonathan Frakes had teased this storyline, it might have sounded like a gimmick. But Frakes carries credibility with the fan base. He's not just a veteran actor. He's lived inside Trek's creative machinery for decades, directing episodes across multiple series. He knows what makes fans groan and what makes them lean forward in excitement. What makes Frakes special is his optimism. Even when dealing with darker themes, he insists that Trek never loses its heart. No matter how far we go into the shadows, the story always has to shine a light, he emphasized. That's what Gene Roddenberry wanted, and that's what fans deserve. This philosophy reassures fans that while the next show may wrestle with bleak ideas, it won't betray Trek's soul. The goal is not to wallow in dystopia, but to explore it so the characters and the audience can rediscover why hope matters. The timing of this revelation feels intentional. Paramount and CBS have been carefully shaping the next phase of Star Trek, with strange new worlds delighting fans, lower decks winding down, and whispers of new spin-offs swirling. Each new show must carve its niche while honoring the brand. By embracing a classic trope in a fresh way, the upcoming series positions itself as both familiar and bold. It connects to the franchise's DNA while offering a story that resonates with modern audiences. And who better than Frakes to hype it? His enthusiasm alone is a promise. If he believes in this idea, fans are willing to give it a chance. At its core, Star Trek has never been about predicting technology or charting alien worlds. It's been about asking questions. What makes us human? How do we build a better society? What do we become when challenged by the unknown? The parallel universe trope, used wisely, sharpens those questions. It forces characters to see themselves stripped of excuses. It makes audiences wonder how close we are to being our own worst version. Frakes knows this, and that's why he defended the decision to bring it back. It's not about nostalgia, he said. It's about relevance. The world right now feels fractured, and Star Trek has a duty to explore that fracture. Jonathan Frakes' reveal that Star Trek's next show will embrace a classic sci-fi trope might sound simple on the surface, but his explanation transforms it into something profound. This isn't about revisiting old ground. It's about reflecting our current struggles through the lens of a universe fans know and love. If the series succeeds, it won't just entertain with phasers and warp drives. It will challenge us to think about truth, compromise, and the fragile ideals that hold societies together. And in true Star Trek fashion, it will remind us that even when facing the darkest reflections of ourselves, hope remains the guiding star. Thanks for watching this video. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel and stay with us.